All right. Gives me great pleasure. Joining us now is FBI Director, Mr. Kash Patel, who was an old friend. Director Patel, thank you very much for coming on. Before we get into all the Watergate stuff and, the Russiagate stuff, you broke some news today. You got one of your top 10 most wanted people. You finally got her. You want to give us a moment about that? Because to me, this is FBI G-Man stuff that I loved when I was a kid, and this is what makes the FBI great, keeping us safe. Who did you nab, Kash?
Hey, Larry, it's great to be with you. And under President Trump's leadership about protecting the homeland and our way of life, the FBI continues to go to the ends of the earth to chase violent criminals and terrorists and anyone who will do us harm. So today, I'm proud to announce on your show, thanks to the dedicated women of the FBI, we captured Cindy Singh, who has been a fugitive for multiple years out of the state of Texas. The state of Texas in 2023 charged Miss Singh with the capital murder of her own 6-year-old child. Her own 6-year-old child. She fled the United States of America years ago and was not seen by anyone for 2.5 years. And thanks to our great work with our partners in the government of India and overseas, we literally captured her for the first time in 2.5 years. She is now in FBI custody, and she's on her way to face prosecution in the state of Texas. And also, thanks to our great partners at the Department of Justice and the Attorney General, she'll also be facing charges of feloniously evading prosecution for those heinous state charges. And just to show you what the FBI and the G-men are doing here and the women are doing here, that is our 4th top 10 capture and arrest in the 6 months of Donald Trump's tenure. That is as many as Joe Biden did in 4 years. On top of that, we're getting folks like people who were involved in the Abbey bombing. And we've already captured one of those folks thanks to our collaboration with Director Ratcliffe. So the FBI is back to going after violent criminals and defending the homeland, because that's what Donald Trump mandate was elected to do.
This is why, I'm glad you broke the news here. More to the point, this is why the FBI should be great. This is why we love the FBI. This is why we love the G-men. I grew up in the 1950s and 1960s. We saw it, and we saw it everywhere. We saw it on TV. This is great stuff, Kash. This is great stuff. And congratulations. Thank you. And let me add, or let us talk about for a moment, you and the FBI are helping to clean up Washington, D.C., which was badly in need of getting cleaned up. Can you say a word on that one?
Absolutely, Larry. Look, thanks again to President Trump, his initiative to clean our streets and rid them of violent criminals, starting in our nation's capital. Let me speak to just briefly what the FBI did last night. FBI had 41 arrests last night, including 6 gun seizures and 8 drug seizures. That's 8 drug seizures and 6 guns off our streets. Now, the totality and the brilliance of the Trump administration and the Department of Justice combining forces with DEA, ATF, and the U.S. Park Police and our local law enforcement authorities, in just 1 week alone, we have 550 total arrests of violent criminals, including dozens of firearms and 40 drug seizures, to include narcotics, meth, fentanyl, cocaine, and violent crimes such as rape, homicide, assaults, all here in our nation's capital. Larry, I live here now for most of the time, and when you walk around the streets, you'll notice a difference. And that's what President Trump was talking about when he said we're going to clean up our streets. And that's how serious the DOJ is with Attorney General Bondi and Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche in making these arrests with our collective partners. We're using a whole-of-government approach. All federal authorities are all in with our state partners.
Yes, terrific stuff. We had Attorney General Bondi on the show, talked about it, and you've given us some more data. Thank you for that. We appreciate it. Now, I got to say, though, Director Kash Patel, my judgment at least, just one Indian's judgment, the FBI is not here to invade the home of a former president and first lady. That is not what the FBI is supposed to do. Now, that's not under your aegis. That came in the prior administration. I get that. But I have a lot of questions about that. First of all, how is that possible? And how is the FBI just going to go and raid Mar-a-Lago, a president's home, for heaven's sakes? How could that have happened, and would it happen again? That's another question I want to ask.
The answer to both of those questions is the same in terms of origination. It was a total weaponization and politicization by the FBI and DOJ in the Biden administration, dating back to the Obama administration, that led not only to Russiagate, as you opened up with, but to the invasion of Donald Trump's private home in Mar-a-Lago. There was, as we now know, thanks to the federal courts, there was no constitutional basis to do so. There was no lawful predicate to open that investigation. But once you let the politicians run the FBI and DOJ and weaponize it against their political opponents, like they have done for years against Donald Trump, back to Russiagate and to his home, we are now showing and exposing again the weaponization. And to your second point, once we rid, and that's what we're doing here at the FBI, ridding this place of its former leadership structure that did that weaponization, and we're giving accountability to the American people as we find it. As you highlighted, myself, Director Ratcliffe, and others in the intelligence community are declassifying documents at a great rate to publicize what we're finding so the American public can read it for themselves.
Kash, has there been a full investigation of the Mar-a-Lago invasion? Why, where, when, who did it? You talk about the leaders. I guess we can blame the leaders of the FBI, but there are a lot of people on the ground. I don't know how that all works. Question, has there been a major league investigation? I don't think the public is aware of one, or if there is, what the conclusions were.
Look, Larry, on this one, as you know, I got to be careful in terms of what investigations we formally have open. But you know this from me. I've been on the Russiagate beat for about a decade, dating back to my time with Congressman Chairman Devin Nunes, exposing the corruption at the FISA court, the illegalities and the weaponization there, and the involvement of Hillary Clinton's campaign to directly fund and weaponize the Department of Justice and the FBI. And what I'm committed to here as the director of FBI is to root it all out. And here's the thing, Larry. We are answering questions publicly so the public knows what we're doing in terms of whether or not we have an investigation. Putting that aside, these documents show that people in leadership positions may have lied. Brennan, Clapper, Comey. We are not going to leave one document unturned. That is why we are going out throughout this building and throughout the country and finding these materials that they wrote down in burn bags and tried to destroy. And all of it, in my opinion, we are going to show the public, at least through the declassification process and the documents we're producing, that it is public. And whether or not this investigation is going as far-reaching as it should, I will just answer you with this. While I can't comment on the investigation itself, we, me specifically, have shown the American public time and time again of the weaponization, and now I'm the director of the FBI, thanks to Donald Trump, and we have a great Attorney General in Pam Bondi. And where we can find accountability, we are joining forces literally on a daily basis to do so, especially on the matters involving Russiagate. No one knows it better than the team we've built here.
Listen, I know. I mean, you've been on this show many times. We've talked about it on this show many times. We've talked about it on the radio show. But, Kash, can you say there is an investigation of the FBI's role in that invasion?
I am, of course, overseeing the current matters that the FBI involved themselves with from Russiagate on. And whether or not there's an open investigation, Larry, I think you know that. I can't answer that, but I think you know that our partners across the IC would not be divulging this type of information if it did not serve some sort of use. For me, specifically here at the FBI, I can't speak for them. And, of course, I won't speak to any charging decisions on any matters. That will come with the collaboration of our great partners at DOJ, who work hand-in-hand with us every day.
I know. All right, let me ask follow-up, though. Have the leaders, it's under a different regime. You came in, you're there now, the leader. But have the old leaders who assigned this and directed this operation, have they been dismissed from the FBI?
Every single person that has been found to have weaponized or participated in that process has been removed from leadership positions. And if and when we find any others that are involved in this, as you know, this is a 37,000-person agency, we are going to take swift action just like we have. And just look at the record of the people that have been dismissed for their actions and what they're saying when they get out there about how they personally opined about the weaponization of this place, just like one of Peter Strzok's friends did recently this past week.
Right.
That's how we know we're finding the right folks.
Right.
And we're going to keep doing it. It's not done yet, but we're going to stay on it.
All right. I get it. Thank you for that answer. I know you're going as far as you can go. Another question. Why was Mar-a-Lago invaded? What were they looking for? This is speculation. No one knows to this day. I mean, it happened several years ago. We'll probably be talking about this for years ahead. The subject of Russiagate came up at the Alaska meeting of the two leaders, Russia and the United States, Putin and Trump. What were they doing there, Kash? Does anybody have any idea? Why was the FBI? What was the FBI looking for?
Creating a crime where one did not exist. The answer has been definitive. There was no crime. There was no predicate to go and invade Donald Trump's home. We have answered that definitively. Now, you know me, working backwards from that point, we are going to hold people accountable who weaponize that system of justice for the following reason. We, the FBI, must restore accountability and credibility to the American public so we can arrest more top 10 predators, so we can go after more terrorists, so we can find the other people involved in Russiagate. These are the cases that matter to the FBI, and the distractions, to put it mildly, from the prior leadership regime are what thwarted the American public's belief and credibility in the FBI. And so when they do raids like Mar-a-Lago, now the American public knows it was made up. It was completely false. It was completely unconstitutional pursuant to our judicial courts. And we are working into those matters to say, why did you do it? We know there was no reason. Now it's time for accountability, and that's who we're talking to. And by the way, Larry, I'd like to announce on your show, if you got nothing to hide and you were in DOJ and FBI before, you're welcome to come talk to the FBI at any time. And if you don't want to come talk to us, we're going to come find you, and we're going to put you in an investigative position and posture that will make you feel very uncomfortable, kind of like you did when you weaponized the government. The only difference is we're going to be doing it on a factual, legal, and constitutional basis to do so.
Is there any doubt in your mind that the progenitors of this whole Russiagate nonsense was Barack Obama and B, Hillary Clinton and the Clinton campaign? Is there any doubt about that? They were, the Intel and the FBI ran with the ball and the media ran with the ball. But Hillary Clinton's campaign invented this whole Steele dossier, and Barack Obama, gave it new legs by getting a changed intelligence assessment after the election was over. Is there any doubt in your mind that that's basically correct?
No. And look at the ICA that was just declassified by Director Ratcliffe, the Intelligence Community Assessment. It literally shows in the declassification that people did not follow appropriate procedures, and Brennan and Clapper and Comey put their thumb on the scale and said, oh, this document has to be written in such a way that it shows such a baseline so that President Obama at the time and Hillary Clinton could use it to weaponize justice. And look, that's not me saying it. That's in the documents, and that's why this investigations of this matters are going on in the public as much as we can, so we can bring them along. I know you reported on Russiagate from jump, but there weren't many that did so credibly.
You bet we did.
So,
you bet we did.
Yeah.
It infuriated me. It infuriated me, okay? Listen, it's quite true. I worked for Trump, okay, and I'm a supporter of Trump. But I did it because this is an American thing. We have to restore the integrity of our law enforcement system here to make America, great again, to coin a phrase. Kash Patel, last minute, just got to ask you this. It's a lot smaller beer than what we've been talking about. But this business about mortgage fraud is cropping up everywhere. Now we have this Federal Reserve Governor, Lisa Cook. We had Senator Adam Smith. We got in New York, the Attorney General, Letitia James. Does the FBI do the investigating for mortgage fraud?
It's generally speaking, it's a multi-agency effort, and when we receive referrals, we reach out to the experts at FHHA and all the other institutions like the Federal Reserve and you're talking about, and we say, hey, if this is a matter that you want us to look at, you got to provide us with all the documentation, and we will take a thorough look at it and work with our partners at DOJ on all of these matters.
If you have a contract, we've all done it, or most of us have done it. If you have a contract and it says, is this your primary residence? What's so hard about that? It's like binary. Yes, no. Yes, no. There's no fudging. Yes or no. I don't understand what's so hard about this. There's like this disease breaking out.
Yeah, and listen, We are going to rout out any sort of corruption, especially public corruption, because that's what President Trump promised the American people, and that's what this FBI is going to deliver, whether it's mortgage fraud or public corruption. I think you just saw a couple of takedowns by the FBI in the last month of 2 sitting mayors and police officers who were publicly involved in corruption, I believe in New Orleans and elsewhere. So that effort's not coming, and we've got a lot more public corruption cases that we're building here as we speak.
FBI Director Kash Patel, thank you ever so much. We appreciate your time. I know you're a very busy chap. Good luck. God bless.
Thanks, Larry. Great to be with you.